Hello, and welcome to another Read With Me session. My name is Vanessa Black. We are currently reading Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. We just are getting started. In the last Read With Me session, we dove into the forward and chapter 1. So we're going to be diving into chapter 2 today, which is Are You Living in Someone Else's Paradigm? That is the title. Page 23 if you have the physical book. If you do not have the physical book, do not worry. That's why I show up. That's why I read to you every single day of the week. Okay. So, super pumped up and excited. This book is absolutely phenomenal. Chapter 1 just blew away so many people. Just getting feedback from that. We talked about understanding paradigms and habits, developing awareness, and if you're looking to understand the mind better, if you're looking to understand maybe why you set a goal and maybe you haven't achieved it, or you're doing all the right activities and you're not achieving the goal that you're set out for, a while now, you'll most likely find the answer here and how to actually make it happen. What are the necessary things? Developing that awareness and breaking through your old paradigms, your old multitude of habits. Okay, so let's dive into chapter 2 here. So glad you're here. Go ahead and share this book at the end of this if you feel like it's valuable to you and it could be valuable to somebody else. You can share it on your social media. You can share it to your friends, your family, your loved ones, because it can absolutely transform someone's life. Again, he mentioned reading the book is not just going to change your life, it is a repetition. Okay, it's the decision of I'm going to commit to this. Okay, it's not just a one-time read, it's a study, and I'm super excited to continue forward. So let's dive right into it. Are you living in someone else's paradigm? That is the question. Are you? Let's see. As I said in the previous chapter, very likely you are not living in a paradigm that you built yourself. Only on very rare occasions is a person is living with their own paradigm. Almost everyone has had their paradigms built for them, a partner, or a parent, a guardian, someone else, and it controls their whole lives. Create the world you want. The subconscious mind, which operates according to your paradigm, is wide open, and everything that's going on around goes right into it. The subconscious mind is totally deductive. It has no originating capacity whatsoever. It is also amoral. It's like the earth, which really doesn't care what you plant in it. As Earl Nightingale said in The Strangest Secret, by the way, The Strangest Secret is an awesome audio. I believe it's like a 20-minute audio. It's old school, but I remember listening to it like every single day when I was introduced to The Strangest Secret. I'm sure it's on YouTube. So after this, you can go check it out on YouTube. Type in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale, and I'm sure you'll see it. Anyways, as Earl Nightingale said in The Strangest Secret, you can plant sweet corn, and a 16th of an inch away, you can plant nightshade, a deadly poison. One will grow in just great abundance as the other. So it is with the subconscious mind. Whatever you plant will grow. Like the earth, the subconscious doesn't determine what's good or bad. It just accepts and grows it. Your subconscious mind expresses itself through your actions. Many seminars will have you sit down and write how you would like to live, where you would like to live, what you would like to do, what you would like to earn, and whom you would like to mix with. When you've written down all these things down in detail, you've built a picture. For most people, that's usually the end of the exercise. Our imagination and our reason created that picture, but it's only through repetition that you're going to plant that idea in your subconscious mind. To do that, you have to write it out over and over again. 3 times every morning, I write out 9 lines and record them. I send them to Sandy Gallagher. And by the way, apologize for my mistake. Sandy Gallagher is actually his partner, not his wife. Okay. He does have a wife. I believe Linda Proctor. You can check her out on Instagram. Okay. It's his business partner. So I send them to Sandy Gallagher, my business partner. She does the same. We're both on the same frequency. It's the way we want to see our business and what we want to accomplish with it. It's a great exercise to do. Okay. 3 times every morning, the repetition, not one time. I know we're doing all these exercises, we're reading all these books, but it's a consistency of an exercise that you pick up and that you're doing. We reinforce the vision through repetition. What is the vision? What is your vision? Are you repeating it every single day? Are you seeing it every single day? We have signs all over our apartment here where we're constantly seeing our vision, our goal. And so that can be planted in our subconscious mind that everywhere we go, we see it. Okay. We'll do this for a year or 14 months. We're creating the world that we want to live in our own company. That's what has to be done. Writing causes thinking, and thinking creates pictures. You're creating an image in your consciousness with your imagination, and you're painting it with words to bring something beautiful about. Once I asked an artist how he did such beautiful work. He said, I dreamed my painting and then I paint my dream. That's essential. That's essentially what we're doing. We're dreaming our paintings and then we're going to paint our dream. Through the repetition of writing this vision over and over, we're planting it in the universal intelligence via the subconscious. The universal intelligence of the subconscious mind functions in a lawful way, and it works exactly the same way for everyone, whether you're living in the middle of Africa or the middle of Chicago. When you impress an idea over and over upon the subconscious, that idea must, by law, manifest through you. Let me repeat that again. When you impress an idea over and over upon the subconscious mind, the repetition, that idea must, by law, manifest through you. We can drop this book right here. That line right there. We don't have to continue reading, okay? You don't have to continue listening. If you write this sentence down and you really grasp it, when you impress an idea over and over upon the subconscious, that idea must by law manifest through you. So how do you manifest something? Right here, by repetition, by impressing that idea, that goal, that vision upon your subconscious mind, getting it in there through repetition, through repetition, through repetition, through repetition until, okay, put your faith in this process. Don't judge it 5 days out. Oh, it didn't happen. It didn't come. And then you stop. And that's what most people do. They're looking at the physical results, and therefore they stop the activity of planting, of the repetition. Okay. So important. This process causes us to do things a little differently because that idea has to be expressed. Shortly after The Secret came out, I was getting on a plane and a man got into the seat behind me. He reached over and tapped me on the shoulder. I smiled and said, well, who are you? He told me who he was. He was a golf pro and he was going to the FedEx tournament in New York. He had just watched The Secret and said, I think you can help me. I could probably help you a lot, I said. One thing led to another, but essentially I told him how he had to fix the ideas in his subconscious mind in order to create a new paradigm. That's really what you're doing. The paradigm is the picture that controls your behavior and gives you the results that you want. You don't have to worry about where they are coming from. They'll come because you're in harmony with them. That's the thing. You just got to know that they're going to come. You don't have to know where. You don't have to know where that vision, that goal, how it's going to be accomplished. You just have to know it will be accomplished because you're going to be in harmony with them, because you've repeated that goal, you've pictured that goal, you've seen it, it's implanted in your subconscious mind, and you've created a new paradigm that will create the new habits, and the new habits will create the result and the manifestation in your life. Do you want to? Page 26. Consider this: nothing is created or destroyed. Nothing is created or destroyed. All science and theology teach that everything is already here in one state or another. People often have trouble making decisions because they don't know where the resources are going to come from to manifest them. I say the only prerequisite to making a decision is, do you want to? Do you want to? The money, the help, the people, none of that is important. The only prerequisite when you're making a decision is, do you want to? Highlight that, write that down. Do you want to? That is the only thing that matters. What you want is on a frequency that is much higher than the one that you're operating on. When you make a decision and you commit to it, you flip your mind into that frequency. You have to stay there. Then it becomes part of your new paradigm. You've got to stay on that frequency because it controls your behavior as well as what you attract to you. Our mind operates the same way as a radio or phone. You've got to get on that frequency of the good that you desire. I was around 15 when my family got our first phone. It was a party line shared by probably 50 people. Why did we have to have a party line? Because we weren't aware that there's an infinite number of frequencies. Once we became aware of that, everybody could have a phone. There are millions of phones because there's an infinite number of frequencies. Your phone number is a frequency. In the mind, your paradigm is your frequency. In the mind, your paradigm is your frequency. The picture in the subconscious mind dictates the frequency that we're on, what we're doing, and what's coming to us. As I write this, there's a pandemic going on outside. It's a sad thing, but it's not going to slow me down. I'm working with the law, and I know everything I require is going to be attracted to me. It's going to come when I absolutely need it, not before, because that's the way the law works. Going to come when you need it, not before. That's the way the law works. So I must be patient and do what I have to do to stay on the same frequency. Are y'all getting this? Are y'all getting this? Come on. Don't get me fired up over here. Page 28, determined imagination. I want more than I've got, not because I want more money, but because I want to grow. I want to become more aware of my oneness with infinite intelligence, with God. If we really understand this and keep working at it, it's going to happen. But we've got to keep working at it. We have to paint the picture of the good that we desire and write it down. We have to paint the picture of the good that we desire and write it down. When you have created an image in your conscious mind, you impress it on the subconscious mind through repetition, and you let yourself feel it. It's got to be real. So real. Neville called this determined imagination. Thinking from the end is the beginning of all miracles. Thinking from the end, begin with the end in mind. You don't work toward it. You go where you already are in your mind, and you get emotionally involved. Then it's only a period of time until it comes to pass on the physical level. You've got to live in the now. I've got it now. The second I see it in my mind, the second I get emotionally involved with it, I've got it. Everybody's going to think you're a little crazy, but that's okay. They'll think so anyway. They don't know. They don't even know they don't know. You're moving ahead and they're not. So they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to think you're making a mistake. The truth is you're starting to do things the right way, but only a very small percent of the population is doing it the right way. About 95% are trying, but only 5% win. A woman in Germany taught me something I think I knew intuitively, but hadn't heard said in words. She said, all success is 5% strategy, 95% mindset. And that's right. We have been programmed, and part of our programming is to live from the outside in. We've been taught to live through our senses. Will you listen to what I'm telling you? Will you look at what I'm showing you? I have two little dogs in the house. They can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, but they don't have the intellectual factors that I do, which are perception, will, reason, imagination, intuition, and memory. And we discussed them in the last chapter as well. If you want, so we have, talk about it another day. Actually, yeah, it might be in there. Anyways, talk about it another time. A, B, and C type goals. We also go about things the wrong way. I sort goals by ABC. A type goals are doing what we already know how to do. Now goals are not for getting. Getting is merely a byproduct. Goals are for growing. Goals enable you to draw on this marvelous power that you've got locked up within you. Once I asked a person in a seminar, what is your goal? He said, I want to get a new car. What kind of car do you want? I asked. A Pontiac. What are you driving now? A Pontiac, he said. I see, I said. How old is the car? 4 years old. How long have you had it? 4 years. What you're telling me then is you got a new Pontiac 4 years ago. Is that right? Yeah. Then that's not a good goal. For 4 years, you've known how to get a new Pontiac. So there's no gain there. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get a new Pontiac, but that's not a good goal. For 4 years, you've already known how to get a new Pontiac. Going to the store, this is really good. Going to the store to buy bread is not a goal, even though you're still going to do it, but there's no growth attached to it. Then there is the B type of goal. A B type goal is something a person thinks they can do. If this person pays me what she owes me, and if this happens and that happens, I could actually do this. That's the B type goal. You can see how to get there. If a whole bunch of conditions and circumstances and things happen in a certain way, you could do it. Now, the C type goal involves something you have no idea how you're going to get. It's off in the dark. It's beyond anything that you've ever done before, but it's what you want. It's the house you want. It's the job you want. It's the business you want. It's the accomplishment you want. You have no idea how to do it. You haven't gotten the money. You haven't gotten the time, and you don't have the wherewithal to make it happen, but you want it. That is the only true prerequisite for a goal. You've got to really want it. Okay, so let's write, that's good. What is a prerequisite for a goal? That you got to really want it. Wants come from the essence of who we are, the perfection that's within us, the spiritual DNA, which is perfect. It's motivating us. It's coming into our consciousness. Want this? I sat in the house on Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois, 1973. I just loved working at the Nightingale Conan Corporation. Except for my family, I was alone. I took my pen and said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. I had absolutely no idea how I was going to do it. I certainly didn't have enough money to pull it off. I didn't have any help and I didn't have any employees, but I had an idea. As Andrew Carnegie said, any idea that's held in the mind and emphasized, whether feared or revered, will at once begin to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. This reminds me of the great suffering of Job in the Bible. Job, he said, the thing which I greatly feared has come upon me. If you're afraid of something, you're going to attract it. In any case, I had no idea how it would happen, but I wrote down, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. Today, we operate in 89 different countries. I built a television station. We can broadcast all over the world. When we stream a seminar, we go into 119 countries. That was a picture, and it happened. Now we have some 3,000 consultants that work with us. I want 100,000. I'm a long way from my target, but I'm acting as if I'm already there because I am there in my consciousness. So happy and grateful now that we're impacting 4 billion souls all over the world to achieve personal freedom and financial freedom. I'm acting as if I'm already there because I am there in my consciousness. With this C-type goal, you're going where you've never been, Steve Jobs says. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. You see how you got to where you are, but you can't see how you're going to get where you are going. But if you hold the picture in your mind and you stay emotionally involved, it will reveal itself. Seek first this kingdom and its expansion and righteousness, and all things will be given to you. You're going to attract everything that's necessary. If you hold the picture, everything you need will come to you when you need it, but not before. Not before. Attract what you need. Over 15 years ago, I was doing a seminar in Vancouver, Washington. A woman came who was as securities attorney, who was a security attorney. She came because somebody had told her seminar was a management program. It wasn't a management program at all. It was a science to getting rich seminar. And if you want to read the science of getting rich or listen in, we have the audio in our playlist. She fell in love with this information. This woman had a doctor's degree in law. She was buying and selling bakes, turning banks public. She had gone to the best universities in America, and in the UK, she had graduated at the top of her class. This woman fell in love with what we were doing. She bought everything we were selling. About 3 years later, she became my business partner. She owns half of this company. She is a Gallagher of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. That's Sandy Gallagher. Her genius has helped us grow. She understands money. I don't. I know how to get it, but I don't know how to manage it properly. That's why we're going so rapidly and doing so well, because I attracted what I needed. We've got a young guy who understands everything in the studio we built. He walked in from Manchester, England. He knows how to do everything. He could operate it on his phone from England if he wanted to. I've got a creative director who has done all kind of television work. We've got one of the most phenomenal teams of people you've ever seen. All of them were attracted because of what I wrote down that day in Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois, 1973. Once I wrote down that goal, I started to work as if I've already reached it. Because that's what you got to do, Neville said. The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. I'm going to repeat that again. If you want to write it down, I encourage it. If you want to highlight it, I encourage it. The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. Neville also spoke of thinking from the end. In other words, you don't work toward a goal. You already there the second that you set it. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desires. You've got to see yourself with what you want and act as if you've already got it. Build your paradigm as a picture of how you want to live your life. With every aspect of your life that you want to change, how do you want to change it? What do you want it to be like? Describe it in detail, and it always got to be in the present tense. Begin everything by writing, I am so happy and grateful now that dot, 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 dot. I'm so happy and grateful now that. Some people worry about stretching too far. They say that your goal has to be anchored in at least a bit of reality because if you overreach, you'll strain yourself. But reality is an interesting word. It's part of the paradigm. The Wright brothers were not realistic. I had the good fortune of working with Sir Edmund Hillary on 2 or 3 occasions. He's gone now, God bless him. But he certainly wasn't being realistic when he became the first man to climb Mount Everest. A lot of people have died trying to get to the top of the mountain. So one thing you can do right now is take an index card and write down, I am so happy and grateful now that, complete the sentence. Hold it with you. Read it every morning, 3 times. Start picturing you as you're already there. Some people worry about stretching too far. I don't think there's any limit to what you're capable of doing. Nonetheless, it's true that if you stretch too much at the outset, you could cause yourself problems. That's trying to force things. We don't know how long it takes to get in shape for running a marathon. We don't know how long it takes to get $1 million. We only know that we can get there. The time frame may be different for you than me. Your new paradigm is an idea, and all seeds have a gestation period. For a human baby, it's about 280 days in Canada. Where I live, it's around 70 days for a carrot. We don't know what this gestation period is for a spiritual seed, which is an idea. No one knows what the gestation period is for an idea. You guess at the time, but you're guessing, and you'll usually guess wrong. Now I've known a couple of people who guessed right and landed on the exact day they have visualized, but that's unusual. Even so, I don't think there's any limit to what we can do. Because you're working with infinite intelligence and with the law by which how everything happens by law. And when they go wrong, we're violating the law. This is so true. And before we move forward, I'm going to share a story, personal stories. This has worked time and time again in my life. Okay. First of all, me meeting Isabel, exactly what I needed when I needed. I attracted Isabel. Isabel attracted me. Okay. That's the first thing. And then I remember learning this over a decade ago, writing down, my goal was like 106 figures a year. I'm so happy and grateful now. I'm a diamond consultant, which a diamond consultant was earning $100,000. So that was like the goal for the year. Repeating it, focusing it, picturing it to the point where like I could see myself there already there. And I was acting and walking in rooms like that's what it was, right? Eventually, not overnight. I don't know, it could be 7-10 years later or 7 years or something like that. We hit 250,000 in 12-month period of time. And that was like the first time over 6 figures. Prior to that, probably earned 30,000 in a year. Okay. Working, bartending, serving, like little jobs like that. But I was developing myself, developing my mind, seeing, picturing, all of that stuff. Then we're talking about 100K in a year. Then that happened in a months. All from this information. Now, obviously, we've generated millions of dollars, like $2+ millions of dollars in our business, but we have 80 million up there. 80 million. Now, we don't know exactly how that's going to happen. Okay. But as this is repeated, as it is consciously being seen and it's imprinted in the subconscious mind, and we get in harmony with it, it's already done. This is already done. Okay, so like that's the beautiful thing of what do you want? And then obviously you review those things. What will that do? What does that look like now? How do I talk? How do I dress? How am I helping different organizations? All the details, how we're helping our family. What does that look like? So powerful. I encourage you to do this today if you have not done so yet. And if you maybe paused in doing so, which I'm guilty of, like pausing, I could be even better at doing it. The faster that in reality in the physical will happen, but it's not something for it. It's the patience that is testing. But choose a goal that you don't know how to achieve it. It's not something you've done before. All right, we're finishing up this chapter very shortly here. So create or disintegrate. The Bible says the wages of sin is death. When I heard that as a kid, I thought, whoa, is that ever severe? Is that true? Yes, I just didn't understand what death meant here. There's a basic law of life that says create or disintegrate. If you're not going ahead, you're going backwards. When you violate the law, that's the sin. You go backwards. You're working against it. You're trying to force things. When you're working with the law, you go ahead. When you're doing it right, everything flows beautifully. If you have to really struggle, you're probably going against the law. At one point, I was working with a multi-million-dollar company on a program. I liked the individual involved and he likes me, but what we were trying to do was too much of a struggle. I knew it right then and told him that I thought we should forget it because we were struggling. I think we're working against the law, I said. I think there's something wrong with what we're doing. I don't know what it is, but I think you'll agree with me. There's a struggle, and there shouldn't be. It should be a free flow. When things are clicking along for you, you're doing it right, you're doing it by law. Science fiction author Robert A. Henlon once observed, in the absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until we ultimately become enslaved by it. I relate that quote to the situation of a new baby. The baby has been indicated with trivia, the conversations that are going around the baby, things that are deemed to be important, worrying about this, worrying about that. What if this happens? What if that happens? All of this trivia ultimately enslaves the baby. It becomes part of the baby's paradigm. That does a great deal of change. Find your purpose. We've got to have a purpose to our lives, a reason for getting out of bed. When you have a purpose in life and you're being guided by it, all this trivia will just bounce off like water from a duck because you're not in harmony with any of it. Futurist Joel Barker, who wrote a book called Paradigms, said that in order to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. Willing is very important, but if you don't have purpose, the odds are pretty good that you won't be willing because you have to do things that don't make a whole lot of sense to you at first. You've got to start doing things that go against your paradigm. For example, part of my paradigm is to be in my studio at 5:30 a.m. and do my writing exercises. The last thing I do is write 10 things I'm grateful for, and I do this every day. It's not difficult for me. It would be difficult now if I didn't do it because it's part of my paradigm now. But when you first start doing these things, you're not only forming a new habit, you're breaking an old one. And that's not an easy thing to do. That's why people on weight loss programs have a difficult time. They're not only forming new habits, but breaking old ones. If you don't have a strong sense of purpose, you probably won't be willing to do that. You've got to have a purpose that really means something. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning. We're not here just to earn enough or get by. Your purpose then makes you willing to pay the price to do it. And without that purpose, you won't do it. How do you decide on the purpose? That takes some discipline in itself. You could start by sitting down and asking yourself, what do I really love doing? I believe we're all hardwired to do something really well. I'm really good at what I do. I'm not much good at anything else, but I don't want to do anything else. I just work at getting better at what I'm doing. I recommend doing the following exercise early in the morning. I'm more creative in the morning. That's why doctors operate early in the morning. Their hand is steady and the patient is more receptive. Sit down in the morning and ask yourself, what do I really love doing? I think you'll find your purpose there. It's your purpose because you love it. Great question. What do I really love doing? You can easily get on the wrong track here. When I was speaking at a seminar in Phoenix, a doctor told me he was thinking of leaving his profession. Why is that? I asked. You can earn enough money. Today, he said, the medical profession is all messed up. You've got to work harder and put in more time to earn less money. That's probably true, I said, but why did you become a doctor in the first place? Because I love it. You better think about what you're doing then, because if you love it, it doesn't make any difference whether you're getting paid or not. You don't go to work to earn money. You go to work for satisfaction. You provide service to earn money. I explained that to him until he finally got it. Desire, the key to ability. Anyone can do what anyone else has done. I don't think there's any limit to what you're capable of doing, but it's strongly linked to desire. If you aren't able to play football like Tom Brady, you won't want to play football like Tom Brady. Napoleon Hill said, if you have the desire, you have the ability to do it. If you don't have the desire, you won't have the ability. The ability comes with the desire. So you could be a poor boy or girl living in a poor neighborhood, but you really desire to have a few $1 million in the bank. You could do that, even if you don't desire to have the money of a Jeff Bezos. If you have the desire, you have the ability. Don't question how it's going to happen because you won't know that until after it happens. Hillary did not know how to get to the top of Mount Everest until after he got there. The Wright brothers didn't know how to get to the plane in the air until after they did. The way will be shown, but you've got to get on the frequency of the good that you desire. Most people are on an AM frequency, but wishing they had FM music. If you want FM music, you've got to get on the FM frequency. That's good. If you want an example of someone who was living someone else's paradigm but turned it around, you can take my own life. At 26, I was underweight. I was shy. I had very low self-esteem. I owed money to everybody I knew, and I had never done anything of any consequence. I was kicked out of school after 2 months in high school, and I wasn't a very nice person. I had a bad attitude. Today, I think I'm a very nice person. I've earned millions of dollars. I've helped millions of people. I'm at the top of my game. I don't know anybody that is doing what I'm doing better than I am. And I believe that if I could go and do it, anybody can. It's good. Page 41, out of solitary. 4 years, I was going into Kingston Penitentiary, a maximum security prison at Canada, once a month. I had a deal cut with the security people. I said, anybody that wants to come and listen to me should be able to come. Love that. Oh, they said, that's being ridiculous. No, it's not. I said, if anybody wants to come, they've got to be able to come. Finally, they agreed. There was one guy who'd been in solitary confinement for 7.5 years. He had shot someone in a holdup near Winston, Ontario. The guy didn't die. If he had, they would have hanged this man because at the time they were hanging people in Canada for murder. He was sentenced to 27 years. He had been in solitary confinement for 7.5 years. He got out 1 hour a day by himself in the yard. The warden called him a mad dog. He was a big guy, 6'2", 200 pounds. When I started teaching this information, this man would come in and sit in the back. I brought in cigarettes, coffee, and donuts. He was sitting in the back, eating donuts, smoking, and drinking coffee, making noises like an animal sitting on the table with his legs swinging. If I said something about faith, he'd laugh and scoff. He was getting everybody's attention. This went on for about 3 months. I knew that I either had to stop it or quit going there. I didn't want to quit going, but I was scared of this guy. This one day, when he started to act up, I stopped what I was doing and very slowly walked to the back. I stood right in front of him and said, "You've got to be the stupidest bastard I've ever met." You could see his muscles tighten up and his face went red. I thought he was going to kill me. Then he started to laugh. He must have thought, this guy is crazy. All of this happened in seconds, milliseconds. I can earn money faster than you can steal it, I said. Woo! In half an hour, I'm going to tell the security to open the door. I'm going to get out, get in a nice car, and drive away from here. You're going to go back in a cell for another 20 hours. Go, Bob. He was quiet then. The next month, he was sitting in the front, and if anybody shuffled their feet, he turned and glared at them. He was like this disciplinary officer in my meeting. Eventually, they let this prisoner out on a special parole. He had been married with 2 sons, and while he was in prison, his wife had a little girl. He was befriended by a priest who arranged for his wife to get back together with him. He couldn't leave the city of Toronto, and he had to report to the Mounties every month and to the city police every week. This guy came to work with me. A year or so after, I went down hammering on the desk of the parole office saying, "You've got no right keeping this guy on parole. I'm going to England and I want to take him with me." They tore up his parole and gave him his passport, and off he went. Never got in trouble again, lived a good life. He's gone now, but he was worth all kinds of money when he died. If this worked for him, it can work for anybody. Yes. Just got chills. Beautiful. So awesome. The learner shall inherit the earth. At a Human Resource Congress held in 1969 by the Nightingale Conant Corporation, we had philosopher Eric Hoffer as a speaker. He was a grand man. He never went to school and he worked as a longshoreman, but he was a very confident human being. Hoffer wrote a number of books, the greatest of which was The True Believer. At our Congress, he said, in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. The learners will inherit the earth. I took that to mean people that are continually studying are going to be happy, healthy, and wealthy. Actually, there is no such thing as a learned person. You're either learning or you're not. Hoffer also said to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence, not too much, not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. If you have too much, you'll think you don't have to learn. It's very important to have a certain degree of confidence at all times so that we'll continue to grow, expand, and learn about ourselves, the world that we're a part of, and what we're capable of doing. I'll talk about this in the next chapter, which is developing the confidence to change your paradigm, chapter 3. That concludes the Read With Me session. I hope you got some value from this. I know I did. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Go ahead, if you found value, share this with somebody that you love, that you care about. You can go ahead and share it in your stories. Put the link there. I don't know, but this is some powerful things. Change your paradigm, change your life. Bob Proctor, we love you. God bless you, Bob. We love you, and we know that you are right here watching, observing, guiding, and we love you. So I appreciate each and every single one of you. I love you. You are so amazingly awesome. The potential that you have within is just limitless. There are no limits. You deserve it all. Anything that you desire, like Bob said, like you because you desire, that's proof you have the ability to do it. If you have a desire, that desire right there is proof that you have the ability to make it happen, to achieve it, to do it. You don't have to know how, all the details. You just have to know that you can, and begin to work with the laws, in harmony with the laws. Repeat your goal time and time again. Get it in your subconscious mind. Know that once you speak it, once you write it down, it's already done. Now you just got to be patient. All right. Appreciate you. Love you. We'll see you in the next chapter 3 Read With Me session. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't so you get notified, and we'll see you soon. Take care.